I'm just sitting here and I'm just thinking a couple of years ago, um, I came up against a little bit of conflict on social media from ex colleagues, friends, or who I thought was friends. They didn't quite understand the new approaches that I was talking about online. And in some ways, I do understand where they were coming from and why, because I understand what happens in the mind when people talk about something that maybe feels new, unfamiliar. It can feel unsafe if you don't fully understand it, and I totally get that. My whole issue was they weren't just random people. They knew me. They knew my understanding of nutrition. They knew my understanding of exercise. They knew I was into all that. So they knew that I wasn't somebody that just thought you could think yourself slim. Or I would have liked to have thought that, that they knew that about me. Um, but anyway, the the post that I'd put up was of a client who had said she'd worked with me. It was a round of three, and how she'd lost weight within a week. Now, what had triggered them was their minds obviously are like, well, they can't just have sessions with you and lose weight. And part of that is right. But the thing is, things are never as black and white as that. It's not a case of you have a session, you lose weight. But it's also not a case of you eat a sandwich and you put on weight. There's a much bigger picture, a much, much bigger picture. Um, with this person in particular, what she'd even said in the post was she was now drinking more water, moving more, eating better. She was even eating vegetables, and she never used to like vegetables. She used to live off cake. Um, and, well, not live off cake, but that was her expression. Um, so she'd never said in the post that she just had a session and that was all it took and she lost weight. She'd named all the other, pieces of the puzzle. Um, and the thing is, what one of these people had said was, um, the only way to lose weight is diet and exercise. And again, that's part of the puzzle. But if that was the only way, these people, because I do know them, wouldn't be on a lifelong journey of slimming world. They wouldn't be, as one of them said, "Oh, if I have a piece of cake, I just go and run it off." That's a bit of a negative trait as well. Although I can see where she was coming from, because I used to do that, eat and then feel like I had to over exercise to get rid of it. But actually, a piece of cake isn't the issue. You can have a piece of cake and enjoy it and not feel any guilt at all. Um, but if you're having that piece of cake every time you eat, you're having to go and run it off, there's a bit of an issue there, especially if you're finding you're having to have that cake or a treat every time you feel stressed or you're unhappy at work. If that's becoming a bit of a behaviour trait, where, yeah, every time you have a bad day, you're eating, and then you're having to go and run it off. Although, yes, you're doing all the right things so that you don't then put on weight, but that's causing more stress in your body rather than just sorting out why you feel stressed at work, why you use food to regulate your nervous system to make yourself feel better. Um, yeah, so in some places I could see where they were coming from. I could see why they didn't quite get it. But I also knew they knew me and they knew my understanding of these things. Um, and they could also see the testimonial wasn't saying that the woman just had a session and magically dropped £10. Wouldn't that be amazing? And I think I'd be a millionaire by now if that was actually happening. Um, but if it was just down to diet and exercise, wouldn't we all just be doing it? Wouldn't it just be easy? Wouldn't we be able to do all the things to keep us nice and slim and fit and active? If it was we wouldn't be swinging out of these stages of, oh God, I've put on a few pounds, I need to watch what I'm eating this week, or um, being up and down by a stone every couple of months. We wouldn't be going through that if it was just as easy as watching what we eat and moving more. At the end of the day, there's a reason why we're not doing those things, or there's a reason why we're doing too much of those things. There's a reason why people don't exercise enough, because it maybe makes them feel overwhelmed. They have the belief they don't like exercise, and or they just got, like me a few years ago, I loved exercise, and then life happened and I really struggled to get back into my old ways. And I'm somebody that loves exercise. I know all the things to do, but I couldn't do it. So I think that has served me well, in a way that I do have a better understanding now of why it might be a struggle for other people. Because I was that fit person. I was that person that just thought, God, if I could just help people move more and eat better, that would solve everything. And then I hit that struggle myself and realised, there's more to the puzzle here. It's not all just about knowing the right things to do, because I know what to do and I'm not doing them. So if other people have had a lifelong struggle with this, maybe they've got other things they need help with to be able to do all the right things, so it doesn't feel like such an effort. So I just thought I'd share that. And it wasn't really to have a rant about those people, because it was a couple of years ago, but I think the thing that upset me the most back then was they knew me, and they knew that I always have good intentions. They know how I think. They know, I think it was more to do with that rather than them not agreeing with what I was doing, because I knew that they just didn't quite get it, and that was fine. But again, it gave me food for thought as well, of how to move forward with it, and how we all have a very black and white way of thinking, that it's just about diet and exercise, when actually, if that was the case, there wouldn't be an issue, would there? We'd all just do it.